Welcome to another The AI Executive Morning Buzz. This is your go-to live broadcast for real-time AI insights, industry trends, and executive level analysis without the hype, or as I like to say, without the fluff. I'm pumped. I'm your host, Albert Ramos. I'm joined by our CEO and founder, our co-host, Nick James. Nick, great to have you, as well as our other co-host, Jason Hess, our virtual CAIO, and we're pumped. Today, as we have been posting about, we're releasing the AI AMF, the Adoption Management Framework for all you executives that are tuning in live or that will be watching this in the future. If you're wondering, or you made a comment, you've made the vision statement, we are jumping into AI. However, we're not sure what next to do, how to do it, and we're pumped at White Glove AI and at the AI Executive to release and announce the AI AMF framework. So it's really important. Pay attention. We have a lot to cover today within a short amount of time of 30 minutes. And I just want to start with Nick, the history. How did this all start? Why did White Glove create this? We'll start with you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Albert. Tremendous introduction. So as I alluded to yesterday, I've been in cybersecurity for about 18 years now. A good portion of that was spent in a room in the house of cybersecurity called governance, risk, and compliance. Now, in this space, you deal with company level cybersecurity policies, standards, the enforcement and measurement of these standards, risk management. So there's a number of things that happen in the GRC department. One of the biggest pains that is shared across all GRC professionals is the bane of mapping. Okay, because the dynamic that presents itself to many organizations, especially highly regulated organizations in the financial sector and healthcare, is that there are many authorities, whether they're industry bodies like ISO or standardization bodies, or they're regulators of the local governments in which the company's headquartered in. Every one of them think that they're the authority on, and it's their job to tell you how to do cybersecurity the right way, and their way is the right way. Okay, and when they come to check on you to make sure you're following their right way, they measure against the way they expect you to organize it in the fashion that they advised it. Right, so what happens is that there are multiple different authorities expecting you to communicate to them how you're complying with their standards, right, or their regulations. But then if you look horizontally across all of them, you'll notice that 80% of what they're saying is the same thing. They're just using different words. And so we get into this rigmarole where we're having to satisfy a number of different masters, right? And then we have to map between those masters and understand what they're all saying together, right? Which is, like I said, 80% is the same thing. So I thought ahead when we jumped into the AI space. When I launched White Glove AI, I said, this is going to happen again. AI regulation and compliance is going to have many masters again. It's already happening. And so we got ahead of it and we created the AI adoption and management framework as a means to amalgamate, right, and bring together the common baseline, the core foundations of all these other standards. I'm not saying that these other regulatory bodies or standardization bodies are bad. They all have really good intentions, and I think they have really good advice. So we actually took their advice and just put it in one place.
Right. And I want to get, it's amazing, Nick, and I want to get to Jason's thought here because I know we're going to deep dive into the layers, but you're right? There's a lot of opinions out there, and there's also a lot of worry and even anxiety or angst around, well, we know we need to do it. How do we do it? And how do we do it the right way? And there's just a ton of noise and opinions on how to do that. And one of the big reasons why I love and why I joined White Glove AI, aside from the talented people like both of you, is you're doing it the right way. You're thinking not only the build side or the innovation side, not only what you're mentioning, Nick, the cybersecurity side on how do we protect, mitigate risk, But also, Jason, I'd love to tap on you, the integration side, right? We're dealing with people, we're dealing with operations, we're dealing with human capital, we're dealing with marketing. And I know a lot of executives out there are thinking about those key areas. They just don't know what to do or how to do it. Jace, you've been a big part of the AI AMF. I'd love to hear from you as well.
Yeah, I think that's what I really enjoyed about, helping write this and helping design this. I've been a part of large organizational change efforts. And one of the things that we always saw as the difference between success and failure was the buy-in of the people across the organization.
Exactly.
And that's exactly one of the things. As you can see, it's right on top of the pyramid. It's the most important thing is to get the buy-in of your employees, of the customers that are utilizing these AI tools, so that you then build that. So that's where we feel this differentiates, because there's a lot of great frameworks, and we did a great job of being able to get the best out of all of these frameworks to be able to find that. But on top of it, if you have to do an organizational change, you need to have that buy-in. And how are you going to change that culture? And that's really what has differentiated what, all these other ones have. They all have great things of how to build it out, how to run it, how to secure it, how to govern it. But how do you integrate this within the culture of your organization? And that's where I think we really focused on, to make sure that that's the pass or fail of a large scale organizational change, like adopting AI, is, are your employees adopting it?
Yeah, and that's spot on. It's such a great formula to work off of, right? A lot of times when we're chatting about AI, or at least when we hear about it, it's about driving the business and the financials, and that's important. But if you're not thinking about your number one priority, your people, and how AI integrates into their workflows, you're moving too fast, right? We need to slow down and have the appropriate roadmap, digital roadmap and framework. White Glove AI is plugging that in there. I'm so excited. Nick, the human capital side, and then what about even the customer experience or the member subscriber experience? This framework also helps there too, so that we go drive great financials, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, customers care that you care about them, right? And there's a lot to care about them, from the data you collect from them and how you safeguard that data. So I think that this framework will help you achieve a level of assurance that you can confidently pass forward to your customers, letting them know that you are handling their data with a standard of due care that is deserving of their business.
That's great. And we have Dr. Donnie Went in the house as well, as always, in the chat. And I love what he said here. The AI AMF is your roadmap to secure and responsible AI adoption that is aligned with your business objective. I love that, Doc. That's great. And then just want to give a shout out. Looks like we have a Dallas native here, George Trujillo Jr. I'm a junior as well, George. Thanks for jumping in. And if anyone else is out there, if you want to chime in on the chat, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are about this framework. Or if you have any questions, we're doing this live for a reason. We want to make sure we're helping you out. Now, Nick, Jason, I'd love, and it could be either one of you, there was a lot of a review that went into this, right? A lot of research that went into this, a lot of big time names that both of you and Dr. Went reached out to make sure that we're doing this right. We want some of the best eyeballs on this to review, to poke holes at it, so that when we felt great about it, we knew we'd be really enterprise ready to launch this out today. So it's not like we did this overnight. There's a lot and months and months and months of work on this AI AMF framework. Do you all want to talk about that?
Yeah, go for it, Jason.
Yeah, sure. So when we built this, we wanted to make sure one of the first things that Nick decided was this is going to be an open source document.
Love that.
Anyone can contribute it. You're able to add to it. You're able to be a part of this community. So that's the foundational principle, that this is open source. This is open to anyone. This is not, you have to engage with White Glove to be able to implement this framework. We wanted to make sure that anyone is able to do that. And to build that open source community, we reached out to some people that have really done a significant amount of work, whether it's helping write out the risk management framework, helping write some of the ISO frameworks. We wanted to get a diverse set of opinions to make sure that we're heading on the right track, that we're building something that is a community net positive, that people can use this and be able to to go through their journey of AI adoption and be able to design that effectively. So yeah, we had some really intelligent people take a look at this, poke holes in it, question our order, question our, so we've identified, as you see up on the screen, the 6 different phases of adoption. And so, you know, we wanted to make sure, and we got some really positive feedback of your order is not correct. I think you got to go to evaluate and then to govern. You need to write your governance before you write your first piece of code. So yeah, we took a lot of that feedback in, designed it so that it flows effectively on how a company and organization would adopt AI.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to deep diving into there. Nick, you know, I know you were a big part of making sure this got into the hands of those that are in the space, but active in the space and actually building, actually operating, right? So I'd love to hear from you on just what was your vision to get this out there? And then why don't you let us know where we could find this? Aside from, you just put a link into the chat, people can download it there. It's all over the AI Executive on LinkedIn and our other social media platforms. And then I know the White Glove team, we're shooting it out because we want to make sure it's in all of your hands. But Nick, you had a vision to get it out, right? And to actually get in the hands of those that are in the AI space with some heavy names. Why don't you walk us through why did you want to do that?
It's got to be a communal effort.
Agreed. I love that.
As Peter Thiel's book, 0 to 1, this is
great book.
This is I would say since the internet, this was the first 0 to 1. Not even cloud was 0 to 1. This is the first 0 to 1 that we are living through since the since the release of the internet. And you know, some people who are watching this may not have even been alive when the internet came out. So I think it's really important that we come together as a species. Because we have to understand that this is the first technology that's challenged our intellect. Okay, so humans as a species have a number of different strengths, and these strengths are challenged by other, I guess, you know, animals in our kingdom, right? But I would say that from a technological standpoint, if you look at all the revolutions, like the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, it's majority of the time has been our physical strengths that have been, I would say, displaced, right? And given humans new jobs. But this is the first time that this is an intellectual displacement of the human species. So
yeah, it's the introduction, right, of the digital species. And I think the question, and we're here to answer it, well, how do I work with, how do I delegate to, right? How do I empower my team with this digital species that can be an augmentation of our intelligence, a branch, right? A tool in our toolbox as professionals and executive leaders. What I'd love to do, right? And when I chat about AI and how do we go integrate, that's one of my favorite parts, right? But when I chat about it, to your point, and Jason, I think you touched on this, is, well, we got to start with the foundation of your governance, your task force, your roadmap and framework. So what I let people know is, hold on, before we go plug in, right? We need to figure out the governance and what is your pain point, right? You can't just plug it in everywhere, right? And I think that's where people get a little confused. Well, AI is going to be everywhere. Well, not yet, right? You have a lot of people that are involved when you try to integrate this, right? So we need to start small. And then what's the problem you're trying to solve, right? What's going on there? And then what is the AI solution to help solve that problem? But slowing down, we need to have a framework on how to move into that pain point and provide a solution. So why don't we deep dive into this? I know a lot of people have been reaching out to us on direct messages or even in the comments about, well, what is this all about and how do I use it? Why don't we start from the top? And I know we have a visual here. And again, for those following along, you can download it. There's some posts out there as well on this, or just shoot us a direct message and we can send this out to you. So Jason, you want to start off with just that first layer and walk through, well, what does it mean?
Yeah, so let's start with that. And you know, this, as you said, this is for executives, but this is also for practitioners that are implementing this. And you can take this on within your organization, and gives you all a approach of how to do this. So we have identified 6 phases that it takes as you're adopting it. The first one, as you were speaking about, is evaluate. You need to evaluate your current architecture. What is the strategy? What are the organizational goals? What are the business goals that you're trying to accomplish? And how do you take those goals and be able to come up with an AI strategy that is effective for that? And We give you some core elements to think about, as well as some modules. So we have not been prescriptive on how to implement it and what to do. This is more of how to think about the journey of your adoption. So we have, within the evaluate phase, we have, I believe it's 4 different core elements, and then sub elements and modules under there of the things that you need to be thinking about. And this is an a la carte approach. You don't have to do every single one based on your regulatory requirements for your company, the security posture, what you're trying to do. You may choose, 2 or 3 of those. You may choose all of them. So we wanted to make it very flexible, where you're able to do that and be able to customize your AI adoption based on your company's needs, not just a standard, this is what you must do because you're a business.
Yeah, and I'll get to Nick here in a second. Jace, thanks for covering evaluate, right? I think that's from what I see, and I'd love to hear from both of you on just some observations when working with enterprises or just business professionals in general on the personal end or on the professional end. They typically don't start with that. It's like, evaluate your pain points. Where are some of your bottlenecks, right? And what have you seen? What have you all seen? Nick, what have you seen from the evaluate side? Why do, I know you work with a ton of municipalities, different enterprises, small startups to medium size and even large enterprise. Where do you see people struggling even on this first layer?
It is getting everybody on the same page.
Right.
Hands down. Hands down. Somebody in the organization was inspired somewhere, whether it was in their personal life, like they're using ChatGPT on their phone, and they have a lot of personal tasks that like Jason, I know, like he automates a bunch of things in his personal life, right?
I love it.
But they're inspired somewhere in their life, and then it automatically bleeds into the workplace, because where else do you spend your time? You're either in your personal life or your work life, right? So they automatically think, okay, I need to get this in here so we can do more and stay the same, or we have talent challenges, or we have hiring challenges, we have a hiring freeze, we have budgetary issues, right? There's so many problems that that you can align AI adoption to, but the problem is getting everybody to think the same way. Not everybody's at the same level, right? So you need an equalizer, sort of a baseline. And I think that a lot of the times, executive champions that are inspired through perhaps even content like this that we're producing at the AI Executive find it challenging to, I would say, infect others with the same level of passion for securely adopting AI.
I love it. And I know we're going to get into layer 2. Jason, I'd love to come back to you. But as you're evaluating, right, and we know this, even in the mainstream idea of artificial intelligence, AI, agentic workflows and agents, there is somewhat of a gap of adoption, right? And I know White Glove, we go in, and that's what we're looking to solve with you and for you, not only evaluating what your pain points are, but bringing others along, right, to buy in and adopt, right? This is to augment, to actually make your team happier, right? Going back to team member experience, more productive, right? And allow the enterprise to provide a great experience to those customers that they're looking to earn trust from and grow your financials. Let's get into layer 2. Jason, why don't you walk us through, why is it important? What is it? Why is it important?
Yeah. So layer 2 is your govern phase. And if, once you lay that foundation and you understand the art of the possible of what you can do with AI, and that's where we spend a lot of time of helping people understand the art of the possible. Once you start understanding that and you have, a dozen use cases that need to be implemented, you need to govern those effectively, because I've seen organizations that just take a scattered approach and, all right, let's just implement AI all across the board. And then they don't have a cohesive strategy. They're not governing it correctly. They're not managing those use cases to know when they move from phase of development to the phase of operation and being a part of your business. So building in that governance structure in the beginning is a lot easier to manage your adoption than trying to govern it once it's already in production and once you already are utilizing it and it's become a critical fixture of your organization. So being able to set those governance boundaries, the guardrails that are necessary is what the second phase provides us to be able to help be able to enable your companies.
Great. And Nick, if we can unravel this one a little bit more, right? I think when people hear governance or risk mitigation or even loss prevention, right, to protect the organization, it's not talked about too much. We're always talking about growing the organization, but this governance piece is to protect, to make sure we're doing it the right way. But it's not the sexiest of words, right? People hear governance, I'm like, I don't want to, let's skip that part. Let's evaluate and let's go on to the next. This one's so important. Nick, do you mind walking us through just unraveling that a little bit on why this is so important?
I think things can get out of control and it can happen wildly fast.
Very fast.
And I think this is one of those technologies, like I said earlier, it's 0 to 1, that it can make such an impact in certain parts of your organization that if you don't understand technically exactly where your data is being processed and who's processing it, how they're handling it, this can be a regulatory and litigious nightmare for you. So govern that center triangle is meant to be sort of the human council of representatives that are responsible for basically, dispersing all of the important core components of your AI strategy. And then once you build an AI policy, ensuring communication and enforcement of that policy, it's really the beating heart of the entire framework. And it's meant to be a foundation for humans to come together. So leaders from all departments, so to all stay on the same page to make sure that you are mitigating risk to the extent possible.
I love this, right? There's a lot of executives out there that are listening. We need AI for the competitive edge. We need to grow. And then you have the other executive that's saying, wait a second, pump the brakes. We're going to get sued. We're going to leak out data. We have sensitive information. And what White Glove AI has done here with this framework is actually bring these departments together so that we do it the right way in unison. No more silos within your departments. And even when trying to implement AI, when you're silo and you try to implement this, to your point, it can unravel fast. And it's a nightmare to recover, right? Especially for your team member experience when you're introducing a new technology. But in this case, we evaluate the pain points. Before we take action, we're coming together with an AI task force. And I love what Dr. Donnie said in the comments. At White Glove, we have virtual CAIOs. So if you don't have an integrator, if you don't have an implementer that can come in and help you do this and bringing everyone together, we're here to support. But this governance piece, please, if you're listening, make sure you get this done. Do not skip this step, right? And I'd love to move on to layer 3. Jace, why don't you walk us through why is it important?
Yeah, so layer 3 is the fun part if you're a technologist. So that's when you're actually building out your solutions, building out your AI implementation. So you're taking all of the work that's come from the evaluate, making sure you're staying within the bounds of your governance, and now you're able to start building things and be able to do that. So we've got a lot of great guidance of how to do that correctly. A lot of the software development lifecycle items are built into this of building this out, leveraging the SDLC and be able to design this so that it's effective, it's resilient. You have the A/B testing integrated into that so that you're designing this as built for failure. So this is really where the fun part as a technologist, where you really get to start making some momentum.
And I know at White Glove, and I'll get to you here, Nick, because I'd love to hear about this, especially as you've spent years and years building an ecosystem around White Glove AI, including Lucidus. And I think we need an additional show for that because we only have 7 minutes left. But this is so excited, to your point, Jason, for those builders, right? And the executives that are listening to this, there's a lot of work that goes behind the scene, and we're going to do it custom made for you. So more to come on what that is. But Nick, anything else on this layer that you want to chat about? Because I know we have 3 more, and I want to get to it in the spirit of time here.
Yeah, I want to. I'm going to help speed along. Sort of, we go from evaluate to govern. So it goes center bottom into center heart, and then we make a left turn into innovate, and we come back over to secure. Okay, secure is really critical. This is where a lot of your security controls are going to be put into place. Your AI risk management, your AI inventory, you have your AI policy, right? And that bleeds into layer layer 5, which is operate.
Well,
And
here,
then
real quick, Nick, we just got and I'm coming from the finance end. We just got a ton of CIO followers just from you saying that right now on the secure. Just wanted to let you know we're good. We can roll out AI now, y'all. CIOs heard secure. We're good to go.
Yeah, it really, the whole framework takes everybody into account. All of your C-level executives need to be on the same page. And the one thing I'll hit on before we finish off, secure, operate, integrate from Jason's end is that circle of unity. I don't think we gave it enough attention in the paper.
Right.
It's towards the top. But I think that the circle of unity is really key here in making sure everybody, exactly, it's the glue. It's like the connective fibers between the different layers, making sure everybody is staying on the same page. So singing in unity and working in unity is so core and critical to the entire framework. You're going to find it throughout the entire framework. So I'll leave it at that. And, would love to get Jason's perspective on secure, operate, and integrate so we can close this up. I know we only have a few more minutes.
Yeah. So as we've stated, any company that is building technology needs to start building it secure, and secure design by default. You can't add on and bolt on security. It's you've seen so many failures of many companies over the past 10 to 15 years that have built technology but have not built that security. And so we've built a lot of the requirements in there, and that's kind of where my background started. I was implementing the risk management framework. So those that look at the framework, they'll see a lot of similarities to that risk management framework to do that. Next one is our operate phase, and that's where this is going into production, where you're doing your continuous monitoring and your KPIs and ensuring that your new AI systems that are being released into production are being used effectively and are secured and be able to do that. And then as I spoke about, the integrate phase is probably the most overlooked facet of any large scale organizational change. And as Nick has said, this is a 0 to 1 change. You're going to have to get your people involved. You're going to have to have them understand how to use it. You're going to have to completely have them rethink of how they solve problems now, because this AI now levels the playing field. You can be a developer, even though you spent your entire time in finance, because those skills are so available at your fingertips now. This is where you need to start teaching people how to use it effectively and ensure that it's built in a way that the workforce can adopt it.
Man, I love that. Look, here's the deal. Us leaders at White Glove, and for all those of you in the audience, we bring 15, 20, 25 years of operator, cybersecurity, finance experience, right? You heard Jace talk about risk mitigation, loss prevention. These things are really important to us, and we have the experience, and we've bled this into the veins of the AI AMF framework. So please know a lot of thought went into this, including getting this in the hands of people like Dr. Donnie Wendt, right? Look him up. Also one of our virtual CIOs, and some big names out there that research this to make sure that we rolled this out the right way and that it was poked at quite a bit. So we're excited about that. I know we're coming up to time. So I just wanted to let everyone know the AI AMF framework, the AI management framework, or adoption management framework is out. You could find it here in the chat. You could find it on our platforms, and you can even go and scan the QR code on the thumbnail photo there. Please do. We'd love to hear your feedback. And if you're thinking about integrating this in or starting and leaning in, using this framework within your organization, let us know. We'd love to help you out. So that's it for the AI Executive Morning Buzz. Thank you for tuning in. Nick, thank you. Always a pleasure to have you on, sir. Thank you for leading the way. Jason,
I have a few last words real quick?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
I really wanted to thank the team. On the very last page, I believe it's page 74, we had a working group of people. There are authors, co-authors, and contributors. I want to give a huge shout out to people like KJ Haywood, Lee Bristow, Jeff Bankard, Swami. There's a bunch of people on that last page that we have a lot to thank for bringing this thing together.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of names that should be on the podcast too. So if you heard your name, and you want to be on the show, we'd love to have you. I know we have a ton of sponsorship opportunities too that are lining up. So thank you for everyone for reaching out for us. We'll get you on. We'll get you on the show. We have a lot more coming. And by the way, we're doing this every Tuesday, Wednesday now, and Thursday at 7:30 a.m. Central. So as you're getting your workout in, driving to work, at remote, drinking your coffee, we'd love to have you tune in, jump into the comments. We're answering a ton of questions, and we're lifting up the hood and jumping into a lot of organizations that need this help and this competitive edge, doing it the right way with the AI AMF framework. Thank you so much, Jason. Always a pleasure. Nick, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for everyone for tuning in. We're looking forward to connecting with you. Thanks so much. Have a great morning. Great day.